Good afternoon, everyone. Carahsoft Technologies would like to welcome you to our Boomi and Argano webinar. At this time, I'd like to introduce the speakers for today, Jeremy Watercott and Josh Klein. Gentlemen, the floor is all yours.
All right, so yeah, thank you everyone for coming to our webinar. Today we're going to talk about transforming business services with Boomi, specifically from dealing with a government organization, and specifically from the Secretary of State point of view. I am here with Jeremy Watercott from Boomi, who will help speak to the Boomi technology side. And then I'm Josh Klein. I am our Boomi delivery manager at Argano. So really quick background on Argano. We're a digital consultancy focused on delivering high performance operations. Really what that means is we're focused across a number of different sectors, working on streamlining business operations, delivering purpose-built solutions for our partners and our clients. We are partnered with a number of different technologies, including Boomi, and we specialize in a large number of different segments, including federal, public sector, as well as energy and mining, financial, health services, and we also are a worldwide company. We are based in the US, but we have teams worldwide, as you can see on our picture. Really, the big thing is that Argano leverages business technology to help enable your company to deliver high performance operations. So in the top portion, we have procurement, supply chain, logistics. These are really what you're trying to do. And the underlying layer of that is our business technology, which really helps enable all of that for your company. And then a little bit about Argano's Boomi practice specifically. We have a Boomi practice, about 30 or so developers. We've done over 50 implementations using Boomi. We have a number of different strategies going into Boomi. Sometimes we're looking at helping clients enhance a Boomi implementation that they already are using, or doing a new wholesale implementation for them, helping support the requirements design and development, and then from there as well. We specialize in Boomi integration. However, the Boomi enterprise platform is something that we have competencies across the board with. That includes API governance and management, as well as Data Hub being big focuses for us. On top of that, our practice is dedicated to delivering high quality work with Boomi, which means helping define coding standards, delivering unit testing frameworks. Our idea is to give you as complete a Boomi implementation as possible, leveraging the tools as effectively as possible. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jeremy to talk a little more about Boomi as a tool. So, floor is yours, Jeremy.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you to Argano, and thank you to Carahsoft for your partnership on helping support our customers. So who is Boomi? What is Boomi? Boomi is the Gartner Magic Quadrant leader for integration platform as a service. We'll talk more about what that means in specific later on. But in terms of our business, we were founded in 2002, and we were the first organization to the market with a fully SaaS cloud-based and cloud-native integration platform as a service. So this means we provide the tool set that organizations need to unlock the value of their data and their business processes that span multiple systems, providing a seamless experience across those. So we are a tool set that empowers our customers to develop those kinds of experiences. We have been in the leadership quadrant of the top right of the Gartner Magic Quadrant for iPaaS since 2014, which was its inception. In fact, it was created as a quadrant as an acknowledgement of Boomi's market leadership. And as you can see, the most recent Magic Quadrant that came out in February of 2024, we were in the top most right position with the highest ability to execute, which means that when we say that we can provide an outcome to a business related to our technology, we make good on our promise. We have over 30,000 customers. We are a global organization made up of over 2,000 employees. And we're trying to drive innovation in this space and serve our customers as best we can in their digital transformation journey. When it comes to all that, though, and taking a look at us against the competitors we tend to run into in the market, and especially in this space when we're talking about state government, security and compliance, and audit attestation are obviously of high importance. You can see Boomi on the left side with the most advanced levels of security and audit compliance in the space. There's a lot of information on that at compliance.boomi.com. Where you can pull down detailed reports on all of these certifications. As you can see, we are state ramp certified as well as FedRAMP moderate, so that allows us to operate very well in this space when it comes to making sure that we achieve the business outcomes while remaining compliant with the regulatory regime that is in place. So Josh, at this point, I'll hand it to you to talk a little bit about some of the goals that folks that we're running into in the state government space are emphasizing when it comes to their technology initiatives.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. So, really to break this down, we've put this into a couple business objectives that our clients are trying to solve. So we have a need for citizen engagement. Really what we see is, some of these systems are older. What we're really interested in doing is enhancing the accessibility and responsiveness of your state services with, modernized digital platforms that really enable that. Those high performance scenarios that we talked about previously. We're also really seeing a need to help accelerate digital transformation. So we have, complexities associated with legacy systems and how do we, leveraging those as part of a newer tech stack, or other scenarios trying to modernize your tech stack by removing legacy systems. Really, the big thing is we want to push for that using a tool to help break down those barriers and give you solutions to really build the tech stack that works for your organization and overall just enables faster and better digital transformation that you can continue to iterate and improve on. And then the last thing we also see is, need to increase revenue generating programs. And I think that really is the other 2 points are foundational to that is, the idea is that through enhancing citizen engagement and accelerating digital transformation, we can really help improve and increase those current revenue generating programs by creating better user experiences or making our processes less complex and really enabling state agencies to minimize the turnaround time to implement new revenue generating programs. With that, we do see some barriers to success. Jeremy, I'll hand it back to you to talk through these.
Great, thanks, Josh. And would you mind building out the rest of this slide for me? Thank you. So when we see the reasons why state agencies haven't been able to achieve those outcomes or why things are kind of slow moving in that space, we see a number of barriers, but a couple major ones along three key themes, which are a shortage of talent to achieve those outcomes, budget limitations around driving those outcomes, and then navigating the complex security and regulatory requirements when it comes to implementing new technologies to achieve those end goals. So when it comes to the talent shortage, that can be in relation to the existing platforms that are in place that need to be made a part of a new solution, or it can be the talent shortage related to a tool that can help build that modern experience. So it's certainly the case that legacy systems involve a high level of complexity, that there were skill sets that were kind of in vogue at the time of implementation that have fallen by the wayside, and the resources to interact with those systems are increasingly few and far between and potentially more expensive. When it comes to the tools to help modernize, many of the tools that have been available for a long time, especially in this integration space, have been very robust, but have had a high level of complexity themselves. They've been very syntax and code heavy, and there's been a high cost associated with bringing folks up to speed in order to deliver solutions on those tools. When it comes to budget limitations, this comes, to considerations. Everybody's asking to do more with less, or to do more with the same at best. And when it comes to doing that, you need to make sure that the technology investments you're making are not only being made with the consideration for potential licensing costs, but with the consideration for costs around maintenance, considerations for costs around the sprawl of applications. You may have multiple applications or tools doing the same job. So we're all being challenged to operate on a thinner budget. So where are the opportunities to be able to leverage tooling that is compliant with those budget requirements and that ultimately frees up more resources to do more without spending more money? And then security and regulatory requirements. This is really a big one, obviously, especially since we're talking about the potential sharing of data between multiple systems, the potential deliberate exposure of data to drive process on the citizen end. This all can create risk, right? Especially when it comes to how any of these tools or systems handle the data as it's in flight or at rest as a part of an end-to-end process. So all this needs to be considered, and the considerations around these and trying to find the right vendors and tools to work with when it comes to architecting these solutions can be a point of slowdown or a major barrier to actually realizing that vision. So these are kind of the main barriers that we see. So Josh, if you wouldn't mind moving on to the next slide, we'll talk about how we can address some of those issues. So this is the Boomi Enterprise platform. This is kind of the summation of the breadth and the depth of what we have to offer. And we'll talk here about the specific capabilities and how we can help address the needs of these state agencies. So when it comes to the main pillars of functionality in our platform, we have integration automation, data management, API management, and AI management. And to go into a little bit more detail about each one of those, integration automation is the core of what we do. It is the backbone and the foundation of our developer skill set. It is all about establishing secure connectivity to systems and endpoints. It is about orchestrating process in an automated way, either in batch or in real time, to deliver data from source to target systems, do any necessary data cleansing, data routing, error handling, anything like that is all developed through our integration and automation skill set. It is fully low code, no code, drag and drop, and it's increasingly infused with AI-driven developer kind of co-pilot functionality where now you can describe conversationally the integration that you're looking to build and actually have that built onto our integration canvas and then do any further configuration. Within this, we also have the capability to design and orchestrate kind of business process flows, design front-end UI for exposing this data at rest or in flight to a user who might need to interact with it for approval workflows, for data entry, anything like that. And we have capabilities around event-driven architecture for anything that needs to be real time or needs to happen at the speed of the business process itself. Moving on to data management, this involves two really key capabilities. One is focused on mass data movement for analytics, and the other is focused on data quality and data governance. So when I talk about data movement, I'm talking about the ability to design processes that are about replicating data from database structures, from operational databases to target systems, or from applications to target systems, typically data warehouses or other databases on top of which analytical systems will sit. So things like business intelligence or anything predictive analytics driven to help visualize data or take action to make intelligent data decisions. So that is our data integration capability, is really all about moving that data, doing mass transformations all at once, and then doing things like change data capture for ongoing operational database replication or migration. We also, within this capability, have data management, which is, as Josh mentioned earlier, a capability called Boomi Data Hub. And this is all about putting kind of an advisory or a governance persona within the flow of data. So this is where within Boomi Data Hub, you can build your canonical models around the most important kinds of data that you have. So those might be the record for businesses. It might be the record for agencies. It might be the record for vendors, suppliers, for citizens as an example. And what it allows you to do is build rules around formatting, around content for each field that will be required within each of those kind of data domains. So you're putting a mitigation layer between systems so bad data isn't freely flowing, if these rules that you've designed get tripped by any data that's coming through, it can be surfaced to an individual who can act as a data steward to provide that governance, that oversight, and make sure that bad data isn't arriving at systems downstream. From there, once your data is of good quality, then you can allow it to be freely flowing between your applications and orchestrate all of that through Boomi integration automation. API management is our capability really to enable secure and governed data access. So this is where there might be the need for collaboration between state agencies, where there might be the need to build a front end on top of back end data. API management is going to allow you to build a modern API layer around your legacy systems and make sure to have a consistent level of security and governance around who is getting access to that data, at what speed, at what quantity, and allow you to have the right kind of on-off switches to access of that data in case of any kind of security event that might occur. So that is our API management capability. And then AI management. I know this is a bit of a hot button topic, but it's important to understand that when we talk about AI management at Boomi, yes, we give the tools to develop AI agents using your LLM of choice to kind of automate processes as desired. But really what we're focused on here is a similar concept to API management, where we want you to be able to wrangle the security and governance around the AI agents that are being used within any organization and manage the security and governance of those within a single pane of glass. So we're giving businesses the ability to have a centralized management and governance layer over any AI agents that might be deployed throughout their technology stack. So that is kind of the end-to-end capability review for our platform. Our entire platform is compliant to the security attestations that you saw before. We are fully cloud-based, meaning that our customers receive 11 free updates on an annual basis, but you have the ability to decouple the design and the actual movement of data and deploy those processes on-prem to make sure everything is secure up to the needs of the business. So that's a bit about the Boomi platform and where we kind of enable these outcomes. Josh, would you mind talking a little bit about how you see this as being valuable to these state agencies?
Definitely. So, one thing we've seen with the Boomi enterprise platform, and especially that as it's been built out over the last several years, is it's created a set of complementary tools that really feed into each other. And the more you leverage those different tools, the more you get value out of each individual part of it, and then eventually builds up to just a better platform as a whole. So, a lot of the time, integration automation is, kind of the first thing I think a lot of people are looking at is, how do we make two systems that don't talk to each other communicate? We'll come in with a solutioning approach around that. But building on that, API management, and Jeremy, this is something you mentioned, is a great way to help build a modern interface for potentially a legacy system where there are access challenges, data quality issues, stuff like that. You can really build a wrapper around it, or a set of processes that enable an older legacy system to act just like a modern component of your overall infrastructure. And then on top of that, data management we found really feeds into more success as well, because what it does is it can do change detection, enhances data quality, and that actually is a great backbone to have for your integration services as a whole. If they're communicating with Data Hub is doing that validation for you, overall simplifying your integration architecture greatly, and also just ensuring that you have high quality data. Gives you a single pane of glass to view that data. Overall, just extremely powerful. And then kind of, getting back to AI management, we think that's, what's great about this tool with the Boomi Enterprise platform as a whole is we find that it's very forward-looking. So, building all of these tools into your, processes overall just sets you up better for the future. So Boomi's platform is very modular, composable. So there's the ability to, start leveraging what you've built previously for future state work. And I think that really ties into AI management, where AI management is definitely something where a lot of organizations are figuring out how do we use this? Where does this fit into our processes? Where can we start to get value from AI? And something that's very good about Boomi is even if you don't have all those use cases figured out yet, it's still a great tool to build on because when you do have those use cases, AI management's right there ready for you to leverage your existing data management work, your existing API management work. It really enables the platform to kind of feed into itself and just create. I think what we see is just better outcomes uh, quickly as you grow your investment in the platform.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good perspective, Josh. And when we think back, to the barriers that we see to achieving the kind of outcomes we're talking about, being the talent shortage, being budgetary, tightening, and being the kind of security and regulatory environment. I'd be curious to hear from you, kind of on the talent shortage perspective, how Boomi stands aside differently. Obviously, Argano brings a lot of value into that talent shortage conversation with the expertise that you have. By talking kind of broadly about the platform and what's available there for developers, can you help our folks here understand how we help with that issue?
Absolutely. Yeah, so really what we've seen is that the platform, because it's all one cohesive platform, the skills you're learning in, one portion of it are very much transferable and applicable to all the other services. If you're building integrations, you're already dealing with data management problems, with API management problems. So you're getting the experience across the board with these different systems, different challenges that come with, poor data management, that I think, you'll very quickly be able to identify and be able to identify solutions. So, building, what we found is that, Boomi's platform is very easy to use. It's all low code, which is, valuable. I think it's a very visual interface. But then on top of that, because the overall application is cohesive, our data management fits in extremely well into the integration layer because it's another, connector that you work with. And then same with API management, as you start to, all these, they build very naturally off of each other. So someone who's got a lot of experience with integration automation can certainly move into data management, API management, even AI management workflows very quickly, just because that common set of tools, everything is really built off. I think integration often forms the core of what you're building, but it just overall becomes very easy to build off of going forward.
Yeah, yeah, and worth noting too that when it comes to folks who are interested in getting hands-on with this, we have a learning management system for our platform that is completely free, and you can get you'll be provisioned an account to actually work in as a sandbox and kind of on-demand trainings as you want them, along with live office hours to get certified in all of these aspects of the platform we have here. So in a very short amount of time, if you understand your data and the processes that you're trying to help stand up within your organization, how you're helping modernize, you could become a Boomi expert. So that's how Josh and his team have been able to form their Boomi practice, with the expertise they already have around data in a rapid amount of time and start delivering value. So that's something that's available to anybody out in the market who's looking to learn this skill set as well.
Yeah, great call out there. And then I think just tying on that theme of, budget constraints, right? And Boomi's platform is free to learn and everything like that. Getting one platform that really helps you modernize your tech stack without having to rip and replace other aspects of it, I think is incredibly valuable, which is something we've hit on a few times. But just want to emphasize that a little more in that, because Boomi enables you to, modernize some applications or interact with some applications in a modern way, it really does enable, prevents you from having an old database somewhere that nothing connects to and someone has to update manually. It really enables you to, start moving forward with, digital transformation, like we mentioned, without having to, do a whole structure or a wholesale reorganization, restructuring of your tech architecture as a whole.
Yeah, and when it comes to those budgetary constraints as well, there's definitely an opportunity here for some kind of consolidation of tools. where if you look at the Boomi Enterprise platform and these kind of four pillars of capability that we have, take AI management out of it because, as Josh said, that's kind of forward looking, and very few people already have something in house. Lots of folks have some either platform or tool set or homegrown something that they're using for their integration, right, and automation. They might have something that they've used to build data pipelines. They might have something that they're using for master data management, and they might have a tool for API management. And these might all be different, and they all might be kind of competing and not interoperable, right? So when it comes to the potential cost of the licensing of that whole picture, or the cost of the maintenance, if they're legacy, that you're paying on all of those, Boomi brings an entire unified platform that has these capabilities. So, you can take that vendor picture from many down to one when it comes to achieving these outcomes for, modernizing backend systems, creating front ends for interactivity, enabling event-driven architecture, master data management. All of that is all available within this one platform. So definitely an opportunity for some consolidation on cost there. The last point that we want to hit on is really that kind of security and regulatory angle. So Josh, from your perspective, give us a little bit of detail on how we can help break through those barriers.
Yeah, I think it again ties into a lot of the themes we've seen with the platform. Having one platform that is security compliant really helps you. It means that what you're building is ultimately going to be compliant with your organization. And it means that, and because of Boomi's model, where you do have the ability to put your runtimes on-prem, you can, you're able to keep a lot of your physical security as well as your other security compliance requirements. Boomi overall, isn't storing your data so that it's a solid tool to help maintain, the data security that you already have. And then some of what we mentioned, with stuff like API management can actually enhance your security. So one thing that comes up is, shadow APIs, an API that maybe is unmonitored or, is a legacy system. API management gives you visibility into that and helps you. So, as part of the platform, you're getting better visibility into your, existing tech stack and your new tech stack going forward.
That's great. Yeah. So all that being said, when we talk about getting those barriers out of the way, we're definitely between Argano's capabilities and Boomi's platform. We're set up to do that for the state agency to help, realize those outcomes, enhancing that citizen experience, getting them better access to their data, reducing the times that someone who's applying for a business might need to manually enter the same data, modernizing, and driving digital innovation through transformation. We've got the tooling that's needed to modernize legacy applications and tie them into modern cloud-based applications. And beyond that, when it comes to opening up those revenue streams, that really comes down to the way that you are engaging your citizens to adopt new opportunities that you have for them to engage with your agency. So that is, that for our application and our joint discussion to our state agency partners, we would, just ask that you think through your needs when it comes to your data picture, your technology architecture. And if this is of interest to you, we just ask that you get in touch. So I'll hand it over to Josh, and then we will close out.
Yeah, so if you are interested in learning more about the capabilities of the Boomi platform, or how Argano can fit in there with helping you realize those capabilities, or frankly, I'm always up to just talk use cases, talk through problems in your organizations and help solution those, just get some ideas going. You can reach out to Nick Stroya, who's our partner alliance manager with Boomi, and you can also reach out to myself. Our contact information is included on this slide. And with that, I think I'm going to hand it back to Jack for Q&A and any other questions that come up.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. And Jeremy, for presenting today. That is great. At this time we're opening up the floor to any questions you might have. Please use the Q&A button on the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. We had some come in during the presentation. First one is, how does Boomi ensure the security of data hosted on its platform?
So that's a great question. Very common question. We actually, the way that we're architected, because we've got a cloud-based design time where you do kind of all your whiteboarding, you develop your solutions, and then once you're ready for that to go live, you deploy it to a kind of separated and distributed runtime. We actually don't have any of the data passing through or held on our platform. These integration flows can exist completely separate from our cloud-based platform. So your data can remain completely secured. We never see it. We never host it. It remains completely within the walls of your business as long as you architect your processes that way. So we have plenty of guidance on how to achieve that kind of outcome.
Thanks, Jeremy. And last one I had here that came in was, can you give us some specifics on how Boomi can support the citizen experience?
I think my perspective on that, and Josh, I'd be curious for yours, is when it comes to what those citizens, what is actually happening on the back end to drive those citizen experiences. Josh talked a lot about API management. It is about, creating that level of access to that data on the back end so you can get access to the data to build the right workflows, and that it's building a front end UI on top of that to help collect any information or allow citizens to interact with that information on a recurring basis, possibly creating authentication or anything that they might need to do to get access. But Josh, if you've got any perspective on that kind of experience.
Yeah, I think what we see a lot is, bad user experiences or just challenging user experiences often have a technical component to them. Usually there were, design constraints, and often those are data related, as Jeremy mentioned. So we see a lot of, opportunity where if we can get the data in a better format, Boomi's great if you need to consolidate data from multiple systems. It really can enable a better citizen experience by, pushing for that consolidation. And then also the other thing Jeremy mentioned was, API management, getting those, older legacy applications talking and communicating with newer applications, and then, building, forms or, portals on top of that to really leverage that capability.
I think that's all the questions I had in here. I'd like to thank all of our participants for joining, as well as Boomi and Argano for presenting and answering our questions today. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Our contact information is currently displayed on the Carahsoft side, so please don't hesitate to call or email us. Thank you all, and have a great rest of your day.